Hey guys, Mr. Mewman back here again today, and today I have my binder with the complete master set of the new Rebel Clash that just came out about a week or so ago. So I've got everything in here. I guess I can go through and show you guys everything. So there's 209 cards in the set, including the secret rares. So everything is numbered in here, 1 through 192, which is before your secret rares, and then of course adding in the secret rares, you get up to about 209. So I've also included a copy of all the reverse holos in here. So there is about 151 reverse holos, I believe, in this set. And then on top of that, I also have 5 what I call exclusive cards. So these were either obtained in theme decks or built in battle decks, and I can point those out whenever I get to those in the binder. But just kind of starting off here. First page is pretty simple. I mean, you have your Caterpie line, your Scyther, and Shuckle and Heracross, so nothing too exciting on the first page. I'll kind of move this as I go here. Same thing for the second page here with Lotad all the way through Ludicolo and Surskit and Masquerain, and then Snover. So the first, page front and back, there's nothing really that kind of jumps out as much as some of these other pages. But if I move here, so now we kind of start getting into a couple things here. We have, of course, our Abomasnow, Phantump, and Trevenant, and then Gruben, which we'll get to Charjabug and Vikavolt later. But we have our first of our ultra rares here, and Rillaboom V, Rillaboom V Max, and Eldegoss. All three, which I actually think are really great cards. Really excited about making the Rillaboom VMAX deck, especially when paired with the Rillaboom from Sword and Shield base set. And then, of course, we now have Eldegoss with that Happy March ability that lets you get back a supporter from your discard pile when you play it down to your bench. So another great card there. So we will continue on here. So we're going to get into the last of the grass Pokemon. And I really do like the Flapple, just Flapple in general. And then I think the Appleton is the one that has the ability that's basically a Pokemon catcher. So if you have that on your bench, it's basically once per turn you basically get to use its ability. Then we get into our fire Pokemon with Vulpix and Ninetales. And our first of our fire Pokemon V and Ninetales V does have that attack that lets you copy one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attack, which can be very useful, especially in welder type decks, when it's easy to accelerate the 3 energy per turn. So moving on over here, you have Growlithe and Arcanine, of course, with that warming up ability that basically gives it an extra 100 HP if you have a Burning Scarf attached to it, which is quite a bit for just a stage 1. Going into Magmar, Magmortar, Litwick, and Lampent. Move on to the next page here. And now we have our Chandelure and our Heatmor, and then now we get to Cinderace V and Cinderace V Max. I've seen a lot of mixed feelings about Cinderace V Max. I see some people think it's one of the best V Maxes we have. Some people are not a big fan of it. Of course, with Welder in the format, this Max Pyro Ball is really easy to get the 3 energies. And the counter can actually be very useful against decks that hit you really hard. And I guess the big thing to point out about that is you can heal and you can still do the same damage that was done to you. It's not like an Outrage where you do the damage for every damage counter on you. So quite a good attack if you have a good use for it. We get into Galarian, Mr. Mime, and Mr. Rhyme, and of course Mr. Rhyme is coming out in our next set with that Mad Party attack, which is basically like the Night March that we saw back in, a couple years ago actually. So we have moving over here with Gyarados, Wingull, and Pelipper, but now we're getting into Milotic V, which is a very good card if you use with Galar Mine and Absol from, I think it was Team Up. So really upping your retreat cost of your opponent and really taking advantage of that. So moving on here through Seismitoad. Move this back over here. And of course, we now have Darumaka and Darmanitan, our Galarian form. And now we get into Inteleon V and Inteleon V Max. And there's a lot of mixed feelings, I guess, about this as well. Inteleon, especially with the help of the acceleration of Frosmoth, can really get to using max bullet pretty quickly. Of course, with your 160 damage, and then of course you do your 60 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You can play this with like a Galarian Zigzagoon, and you can take out bench Jirachis pretty quickly. It's kind of looks like it might be pretty decent. Cramorant. Let's kind of move over here to the next one where we have Ice Cube, our Ice Cube V here. And then we get into our Lightning Pokemon. So, of course, Voltorb, Electrode, Electabuzz, and Electivire. So, nothing special too much there. So, now we get over here to our Shinx, Luxio, and Luxray line. And this is one of our first version exclusives. So, the non-holo Luxray you can get in the Build and Battle box or one of those pre-release kits. Because the normal ones in this set is usually a holo, of course, and then a reverse holo. So that's one of the 5 that I have in here that I've added in on top of the normal cards you would get in the set. Moving along here, picking up with Charjabug and Vikavolt here on the next page. And then now we get into Bolton V, so one of our electric V Pokemon, which seems to be a pretty good card as well. Getting into Toxel and Toxtricity. I really do like this Toxtricity, basically because it's a spread deck is what you can use it. And then you can also poison your opponent's active Pokemon. And if you use that with the Toxicroak from Sword and Shield, that can really add up. It'd be really nice if they reprinted something like the Tapu Lele with the magical swap or whatever it was that lets you move damage counters around. I think that would really benefit it if we saw something like that here in the next couple sets. But we move into Toxtricity and Toxtricity VMAX. Again, a Pokemon that really takes advantage of your opponent being poisoned. And then Pincurchin, more Pico here. And now we're going to get into the Psychic Pokemon, which we actually see a lot of the Fairy Pokemon technically, but they're printed as Psychic with Clefairy and Clefable. We get copies of our Corsola and Cursola with our really good Perish Body ability, which can be really frustrating if your opponent is risking knocking themselves out. Continuing here through, we have our Palossand, which can be really good as a mill deck with the Curse Shovel that we can attach to it. All the way through here are Hatterene, and then back in here with our Milcery and Alcremie, Indeedee. Now the Dreepy line, this is another one of those that basically has this ability that your opponent flips a coin. If it's heads, prevent that damage. So that could be quite frustrating, especially if playing that with the Galarian Cursola when your opponent is constantly having to flip coins to either A, attack, or B, possibly knock themselves out. And on the topic of Dragapult, we now have Dragapult V and V Max, and these are look to be some of the strongest cards from this set, especially with this Max Phantom, and you get to play or put your 5 damage counters on your opponent's bench. Could be played, as well with Galarian Zigzagoons again to start knocking out some of your opponents on the bench, especially if you get 2 of those Galarian Zigzagoons or even just one with a scoop up net, then you have a chance to start knocking out some bench Jirachis. Getting into the fighting with Farfetch'd and Surfetch'd and Nosepass, running through here. So we have our Metacham and Barboach and Witchcast. So nothing really too special here that kind of jumps out. Getting into this page, we get into some of our fighting V Pokemon with, we'll start here with the Roly-Poly line. So Colossal being a really good energy acceleration, which can accelerate a fire energy and that fighting energy, which is going to be useful. Not as much as long as Welder is in the format. But then we have our Sandaconda, and then we have Phalanx, and Phalanx could be a real fun deck to play, especially using your Phalanx here to attack with your team attack, and then keeping your Phalanx Vs on the bench to help reduce the attack and the damage that your opponent's going to give you. So kind of going into here to the next, we're going to start getting into the dark Pokemon. So Coughing and Wheezing, basically Wheezing that shuts off your opponent's abilities as long as it's in the active position. Stunky and Stunk Tank and Spiritomb, your Trubbish, and here's your Garbodor that can poison your opponent's active Pokemon as long as you've got a Stadium in play, which could work really well with that Toxtricity V Max. Volibee, Mandibuzz, and here we get with our Darkness V in Malamar and Malamar V Max. A lot of mixed feelings about this one, but if you can get your opponent with maybe a reset stamp or something, and then you can kind of Once you attack here, you basically get to choose a card from their hand to put at the bottom of their deck. I guess the goal there is to kind of get them stuck while you just kind of keep chipping away with a 180. So now we have our second version exclusive, or our second exclusive card, I guess I'll say, in Grimmsnarl, which was this non-holo is also in a build and battle deck here. The normal one in this set, of course, is a holo and then a reverse holo. So that is the second of the 5 that I've added into this binder. Getting into the steel type, you have your Glaring Meowth, which is the better version of the ones that we saw compared to the one in Sword and Shield, basically, which almost lets you evolve your Galarian Perrserker that you would use from Sword and Shield. So much quicker than having to search it out. Scizor and Bronzong coming up here on the next page. There's this Probo Pass that looks like it could be a nice little fun deck here with basically taking advantage of retreat costs in your opponent's active Pokemon, kind of like Milotic, but this is, a single prize attacker and only 1 energy. With some Absol and the Galar Mines, it can really add up quite a bit. So we go into the Durant, our Honedge line here. Of course, with Aegislash basically taking 30 less damage for all your Pokemon could be good if you can end up getting that out. So we go into some more of our Steel Pokemon here with Copperajah and Copperajah VMAX. And then now we get into our actually 3rd, 4th, and 5th, what I call exclusive cards. So Duraludon here is a non-holo that comes from, I believe, the Zamazenta deck, I think. And then, of course, the Duraludon is normally a holo and then the reverse holo. And then we also have the Zacian and Zamazenta here, and this is the Shattered Holo from the theme deck, so from the Zacian theme deck, and then the Shattered Holo from the Zamazenta. So those 3 with the Luxray and the Grimmsnarl will give me an extra 5 cards in this set, compared to what normally comes out of the packs. Getting into the normal type with Snorlax, Chatot and Bidove and Tranquil and Unpheasant, Bunnelby and Diggersby. And Bunnelby's another card that we'll see in our next set that has that Mad Party attack that goes along with the Galarian Mr. Rime and the Poltegeist, which I'm looking forward to. Alright, so finishing out some of the colorless here, our Haluncha, Stuffle and Beware, our Greedent, which can search for tool cards, which could be handy, and then our final one here being Double V, which could be a great late game attacking card if you can get your 3 energies on it, whether it be Welder or Rillaboom or something like that. Getting into our trainers, we have obviously the best trainer in the set in Boss's order, so the holo and the reverse holo of that. We pulled quite a few of those actually. We had some pretty good luck with the Boss's order. I was pleased with what we were able to pull with those. Here's our Burning Scarf that I mentioned earlier that could go with that Arcanine. And here's our Capacious Bucket that works really well in water decks and Frosmoth, because with Frosmoth you're accelerating those energies as much as you want on the bench, and these just give you your extra 2 energies that you could just put right on someone on your bench. Here's your Cursed Shovel that goes with the Palisand, in that kind of deck. So I mean, obviously it has its own where you get to discard the top 2 cards of your opponent deck if the Pokemon is knocked out that has that attached. We're going into Dan into full heal. Here is our Galar Mines that I've mentioned quite a bit before. Milo and Nugget, Oleana and Pokeball. Here's Scoop Up Net, which is a great card, especially with a skateboard rotating out. This could be a great card to help with getting your Jirachi off the board or getting out of the active if you don't have a switch. So here we have over here Skyla, which was reprinted again, and of course Sonia. Here's Tool Scrapper, which was also reprinted, which has been great since Field Blower has been kind of rotated out. And then we have our Training Court down here in Turffield Stadium, and then our Capture Energy. So we're going to get into now the final energies here in this set, our Horror Energy, our Speed Energy, and our Twin Energy. And then now we're going to get into our full arts here. So of course the Rillaboom, Eldegoss, and Ninetales, and Cinderace, and Milotic, and Inteleon. And then now we have over here our Boltund and our Toxtricity, Dragapult and Sandaconda, Phalanx, Malamar, Copperajah, and Double. The 2 that we don't have full arts of are the Ice QV and the Pincurchin V. Those were both promos over in Japan, so they never really had a full art print. Not sure if we'll ever see one. But getting into the full art trainers, here's our Boss's Order, Milo, Oleana, and Sonia are our 4 in this set. And now we're getting into our secret rares with the Rillaboom VMAX, Cinderace VMAX, and Teleon VMAX, and then Toxtricity and Dragapult, and then Malamar and Caporaja VMAX. And then as far as our secret rare trainers, we have Boss's Order, which we've actually pulled 2 of these so far. Milo, Oleana, and Sonia. And then now for our gold cards, we have Frosmoth down here, which was neat to see that one get a full art secret rare of the shiny version, and our Galarian Perrserker. And we'll probably be seeing Rillaboom in our next set. And then we have the Big Charm. Here's a Scoop Up Net, the Tool Scrapper, and then our final card in this set is Twin Energy. So that is everything here in our Rebel Clash book. So looking forward to putting the next one together when it comes out in August. So when that time comes, I'll be back with another Master Set review. So thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you next time.